Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So I had a great question, and it is very different whether you're flipping a house and selling it or wholesaling a house, but the question is what to look for on a pre-approval from the buyer. Now, let's explain what these things mean, how they apply to flips, and how they apply to wholesales, and what you should actually look for. So, standard pre-approval comes when a retail buyer is trying to buy a regular house. So this would come if you're flipping a house or maybe you're wholetailing a house. Wholetailing is buying a house, doing very little work to it or no work to it, and just putting it on the market. I'm selling one of those on Friday. And then you have to deal with regular retail buyers, right? People who are going to move into the house. And usually when they make an offer, they're going to provide a pre-approval from a lender, which is going to say, hey, I am Mr. Lender from Bank X, and this person is pre-approved for X dollar amount. Sometimes it's going to be specific to your property, and sometimes it's going to be general. I probably wrote, when I was in the mortgage business for 17 years, I probably created 1,000 of those through the years. So what's important here? So what I do, and one of the questions that we had from Matt who gave this question was, do you call? I personally do call, but understand, I call because I have enough mortgage experience that I can ask some questions and get answers to. If you don't know what you're talking about, making that call is probably a waste of time. So let's explain what's going on here. What happens typically to get a pre-approval is that a borrower will go to a lender and they will say, hey, I need a pre-approval. The lender will then run their credit, and assuming their credit's good, the lender will then verbally ask, hey, what's your income? How much income can you show? How much can you show in assets? Right? A standard mortgage rests on, that's how I was taught, 4 legs: income, assets, credit, appraisal. Right? Those are the issues. So they'll usually verbally ask and accept that. Now, when you call and say, hey, I'm looking to sell a property, you pre-approved this person, are they good? Everyone's going to say yes. No one's going to say, no, that guy's a crappy borrower. Nobody. The questions I ask are, did you actually look at their income, or are you just taking their word for what their income is? Did you look at their assets, or are you taking their word for this? Now, here's a little nugget. Almost everyone is going to say, I didn't see them. Very few people are going to verify them. So you need to understand what that means. Now, sometimes the guy actually sent all his paperwork in. Maybe he applied for a property and didn't get the property, applied for a property and something happened to it. In that case, they're going to tell you, yeah, this guy's golden. You know, you may, sometimes they'll tell you his credit score. They're really not supposed to, but sometimes they will. The credit score is great. You know, and I can say something to them like, hey, looks like they're looking for a loan of about $500,000. Is that going to work? Because the pre-approval is going to have a number on it, but that number might be 500 exactly. You know, and then I might say, you know, I just want to let you know that this property has taxes that are pretty high. These taxes are $1,400 a month. You know, did you take that into account? And most of the people you're going to talk to are going to be imbeciles and not even understand what you're talking about, or are not going to even remember who this person was, or not have any documentation on them. So you obviously want to deal with someone who is more responsive. You want to deal with someone who has a better handle on their borrower. But to be honest, very often I deal with mortgage people that are not good. The deal that's closing on this Friday, the mortgage person was terrible. She worked for Citi. She wasn't responsive to anyone. The deal was supposed to close in May, and now it's closing in the middle of July. I'm not saying it's her fault. I really am not. She may have not done nothing wrong. But the fact that we had no idea what was going on, that we needed an extension, really bothered me, because she just would not return a phone call or an email. And that is problematic. And that happens with a lot of people, unfortunately. Especially, I find, the people who work for the big banks. So somebody works for Chase. You know, you think, oh, I'm not going to go into these shyster mortgage brokers. I'm going to go to my lender. I'm going to go and walk into Wells Fargo or Bank of America or Chase or Citi. Usually those are not the best people. All right? They're guys who look for guys or girls who looked for stability. They're not really incentivized that much to get the deal done. Obviously, they want to get deals done, but a mortgage banker or broker, I think, is a much more hungry guy who wants to get the deal done, is compensated only if a deal closes. A lot of these bank mortgage people are compensated. They get a salary anyway, and they're really not so incentivized to be responsive. If a guy at a mortgage bank doesn't call people back, his boss is going to get a call. He could get fired over it. In city, you wouldn't even be able to find the person that manages them. Just for an example, I mean, I have a friend who went to work for TD Bank. He handled like 8 branches. He was in every branch. I mean, I wouldn't even know who to call if I was pissed off at him to complain to, right? I don't think anybody would, especially if you were a borrower. So there's less accountability. Also, they're usually the big difference with a mortgage banker. I really prefer mortgage bankers. Is that a mortgage banker has the ability to find the best rate for you, find if that's what you want. Sometimes it's speed. They'll send you to a place that's the quickest if you need speed. And if they send in your package, to one lender, and for some reason it gets denied, they could send it to another place. If you go to Citi and you get denied, there's no other place to send it to. You got to start from scratch, right? So, I mean, people used to ask me all the time, why would I go to a mortgage banker? I think we used to tell them those reasons, right? I would say, one, we're gonna try and get you the best rate, right? It could. I remember situations where Wells Fargo or Bank of America were artificially inflating their rates because their back office, the people that were processing the mortgages, were inundated. You would never know that. If you're a Bank of America client, you wouldn't know you're paying 0.25% higher than everybody else. You would think you're getting the best rate. So a mortgage banker can find the best rate. A mortgage banker only gets paid if and when the deal closes. And a mortgage banker has the ability to take your package. If there's a problem with one lender, maybe their appraisal comes in short, they can just take your whole package, all your documentation, send it to another lender who's going to do another appraisal. That'll come out hopefully better than the last one. So I think it's foolish to deal with a bank. And it's almost impossible to get a lot of those people on the phone. I'm not saying every mortgage professional who works at a bank is bad, but I find that a higher percentage of them are bad. The smart ones work for mortgage banks because usually they're compensated better, and if they're hustlers, they'll make even more money. Now, on the wholesale side, where you're looking for a cash buyer, very often there's no pre-approval. What they have very often is a proof of funds. Right, so ideally you want to see a bank statement that's got money in there so you can close. But what you get instead of proof of funds, POF, is you get a letter from a lender that says he's pre-approved to borrow $1 million. And then you got to call the lender. And some of these lenders won't call you back because these are hard money lenders. And some of them don't know what the hell you're talking about, and it's much harder. So I would say that without a doubt, if I have a deal where the person shows me a bank statement versus a buyer showing me a bank statement versus a different buyer who's showing me a letter that he's going to get hard money lending, I'd much rather go with the guy who's going to write the check, right? And it's not a knock on anything. I use hard money all the time, but it's important to understand that if a guy has to go get money and we're in a changing market, it could change, right? I have a deal that I'm closing on Thursday. And the lender called me right before and said, I want to lower the loan amount a little. It wasn't a lot, and it didn't kill the deal. But these are the kinds of things that are going to be happening when the market starts to turn. And I'm sure that there were people who sorry, Susan Green, I got to talk to her. I'm sure there are people who are going to get their lending pulled, right? They're going to say, we're not going to lend you anymore. So it's important to check these pre-approvals. The only things you can really ask are, has the guy done deals with you before? What do you think about him? They're usually going to say good things also, but you can get more information if you speak to somebody who's good. Again, you want a lender who's going to be responsive to you, right? If a guy keeps telling you, I'm having a problem with my lender, you want to call the lender and say, hey, we're supposed to close. Remember, if you're wholesaling it, you're really in the middle, right? You're conveying something. The buyer's telling you they can close on X day. You're telling the seller you can close on X day. And if the buyer jerks you around, then it's happened to me. It's a problem. So you'd love to deal with a lender who's more responsive, who's open, who's going to talk to you honestly about this borrower. Have they dealt with him before? Has he paid off loans before? Is he good? And then I'd also ask the lender, how long do you take? What's the story? Do you have to do an appraisal? Sometimes you don't have access to the inside, and then they require an appraisal. It screws up the whole deal. These are questions you want to ask a hard money lender. On a retail deal that you rehabbed, flipped, or wholesaling, you always need to get access because they always need to do an appraisal, an interior appraisal. So I hope this was helpful. This came by request from Matt. Thank you for the suggestion. I think it's a pretty good question. I don't think I ever dealt with it before, so I like that. And I hope everything I told you was helpful in some way. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're interested in finding out more about one-on-one coaching, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. You're watching on any media channel, please click the thumbs up. The likes really help the algorithm and help my SEO, my search engine optimization, because people have been seeing my videos much more, and I really appreciate everyone who's been clicking the thumbs up. And please keep the comments coming. I post 5 times a week. I really don't know what to say most of the time. Your comments help me. I try to get back to comments within a day or two. You can ask a comment about anything. It does not have to be about a video you're watching. And if it's something simple, I'll just reply with an answer. And if it's something I've covered before, I might send you links to a video or videos on it. And if it's something new, I'll do a new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching. I really appreciate it.